Hello and welcome to the channel. It's a beautiful day out here today. Let's check out some temperatures inside. We have about almost 3 degrees centigrade, which is quite warm for this time of the year. Let's check that in Fahrenheit. And that's about almost 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a pretty warm temperature, I would say, for this time of the year. Let's get the pump going and the grid heater going. See if we can get this started. Starts right up. Great. And I'll just make a quick run to the dumpster to toss the trash. The Roxor comes in very handy for that task. And that is taken care of. Here I am coming back. Just trying to go over the bumps, get the suspension flexed so that it kind of settles after doing the lift from Max Anthony. It's a bit icy. I had the Roxor on 2-wheel drive. Now I took it onto the paved road, and as you can see, the steering is still very stable. The Roxor tracks straight ahead. I noticed no difference in the driving experience from before the Max Anthony lift. I had a considerable headwind, and with the boxy nature of the Roxor, you almost feel like when the wind is gusting, it kind of slows down the Roxor a little bit. It's just one big slab or heft of metal that's trying to push through the wind. If you look at the Roxor from outside, it has that very charming and appealing design, but that doesn't bode very well when you have a headwind or you need to go very fast. It totally sucks on your mileage. You can put it in 4th gear. I believe I am in 4th here, but going at the speeds I am right now, about 55 miles per hour. If I go to 5th gear, then you tend to hear the turbo spin up more. It actually gets to work. Just a few shots of the beautiful open spaces where we get to enjoy the Roxor. The mirror on the right side on these DFK hard cabs, I will still need to adjust it, because you can see from my vantage sitting in the driving position, I can't really see very well from the right mirror. It needs some adjustment, definitely. So you can see the steering, everything is driving very smooth. This is high speed on paved road. I already went through those little bumps in my parking lot to make sure everything moved around a little bit and kind of settled. So this is the first time I'm taking the Roxor out on the main road, which is paved, to see how it behaves. So far no change in the handling characteristics. Here I am in town, and I'm definitely what I realized was it's been about a couple of weeks since I washed the Roxor, but unfortunately on my way back home I encountered temperatures which were just right for the snow to melt on the road. So it coated the Roxor with this salt kind of material, and over the course of the past couple of weeks that salt is just eating into the cab, the body of the Roxor, and even the high lift jack which I have on the rear of the Roxor. Nothing was spared, and I quickly realized I had to clean off that salty material from the Roxor. Typically in these areas they don't use salt, but I believe this council or this in this city they use salt on that particular day, and yeah, so that was the effect. You can still see on the side that whitish material, that whitish powdery stuff. That's what exactly is causing all that rust. You can see, and that's just from about 3 weeks. It's true that we've had a lot of snow, and the snow, acts almost like a catalyst. When it warms up, it melts, and it just gets everything to start rusting, and it accelerates the process. So good thing I caught it maybe a bit late, but I believe with a very good wash and wax, I should be covered for a little bit longer. Temperatures are just below freezing. A few areas on my way here they had the snow melting, but hopefully that's all, because you run into problems when the snow melts and you have all those chemicals on the road that get on your vehicle, and then you have all these chemical reactions that take place and speed up the rusting process. So while I was inspecting the vehicle outside, this is what I found. I almost thought for a moment I broke my brake line, but that's not the case. So I looked out there, looked at the brake line, everything seemed to be intact, and I looked inside, and that device, I don't know if it's the oil water separator or it's just the fuel filter. I checked the brake fluid, stopped off. Checked the clutch fluid, stopped off. And power steering fluid, it stopped off. Coolant is where it's supposed to be. So that leaves that to be the culprit. You can see some liquid on there. I had to touch it, and it was oily, smelled it, and it definitely smelled like diesel, on-road diesel. I've only always used on-road diesel. If you use off-road diesel, I understand it might stain your lines, and you're not supposed to use it on roads because it is not taxed. Exploring a little bit more, at the bottom it's like it has a fitting where a socket can go on there, and you can unscrew it to take out the filter element. I'm not positive about this. I still have to do my research. But I took the Roxor into the car wash and started with a low pressure engine cleaner. It's very aggressive. Careful when you use it. Don't let it sit on your vehicle for too long. I just use it to cut off the grime really quick, since I won't be using the brush. Just don't have enough time to sit there and scrub the Roxor. So this helps me cut through the grease and the oil and whatever grime from the road is on the Roxor. Just be careful also, like I said, this would damage your paint. It's meant for to clean the tires. So I just sprayed on there real quick just to get everything soaked. And for your grease point, like I said, this is very aggressive. It might eat through like your U joints and stuff like that and take out the grease. So when you do this, remember these Roxors are old school. Every so many miles, you will need to grease your shaft and other points in your suspension system. It used to be back in the day when you took your car for to have it to have an oil change. You know, they'll basically just say you're taking the car in for a lube, and then they will lube the chassis, they will lube different elements on the car. So there I put the high pressure soap. So after the tire clean, now I'm using high pressure soap. Bear in mind the water coming from that nozzle on the stick, on the wand, it's a bit warm. So some of your electrical components in under the hood, they are coated with dielectric grease. If you use too high of a temperature, it's gonna take away the grease and your computer will go out of whack. You start chasing electrical gremlins forever. And when doing this also, please avoid going anywhere close to your alternator. Your alternator is vented for cooling purposes, so you don't want to get any of these detergents in there, which will cut away the grease and lubrication on your alternator. As you can see, I'm just doing this the easy way. The good way to do this is you pre-soak with soap and then you use a brush and you scrub away the dirt. But that will just take so much more longer. So continue here real quick. Some quick cleaning. The wheel wells, the hood, and I had the intake leak, which usually happens when you have when you do the boost. You install the boost increase valve, so there's some oil stains around the grid heater, and over time I've slowly been cleaning that around that area. So this is what I would consider to be typical maintenance for a Mahindra Roxor. You know, every so often you go play in the mud, you've taken the vehicle out on in very dusty trails, dusty terrain, sandy terrain. Just remember to use to keep it clean, wash it, and don't go with a very powerful pressure washer, because then no matter what kind of vehicle you have, you would cause the paint to start flaking off. I should admit, the 2020 Mahindra Roxor paint, when you look at it up close, there's a vast improvement from the earlier ones. Very good paint quality on the newer Roxors coming out now. So that's the guy there. If anybody knows anything about that or has had any issue with it, you can comment below. Let me know what your fix was. For me, I'm thinking it's just from sitting, and maybe it just needs an O-ring. Or if that's an oil or fuel water separator, maybe there might have been some water in the fuel that got frozen or something. But anyways, yeah, if anybody has an idea what that device is and what it does and how it works, and how I can go about taking it apart to see what might be wrong, please don't hesitate, let me know below. But for now, as you've seen, my Roxor starts up. It drives as if there's no problem. And typically with diesel vehicles, I know they usually tend to have a little leak here and there. Most diesel engines, you open up the hood and you see some form of diesel or oily residue on the engine or engine components. So I'm not worried about it, but definitely a leak there, but not too bad. I noticed after I drove around, it looks like the leak really reduced, so it might just have been a fluke from sitting so much. I really don't drive the Roxor that much, and usually when I drive, it's usually short runs. It's about 10 miles to go to town and 10 miles back. That's 20 miles, or about the same distance to go to the lake. And those are the main places I have been to. And just want to say I'm so grateful for having installed this heater. It's a lifesaver. After washing the Roxor like you saw me do, it's nice to come into a nice warm cab without the wind, and it's quite toasty in there. You can see in centigrades about 42 43 degrees and getting warmer. So after doing the wash, I ran to the airport, make sure the birds are still there, tied down safely, and then of course keep checking for leaks. That was just an excuse to add a few more miles to the Roxor and see if anything was actively leaking. But as you can see there, it seems to have stopped. I should also add, I sent my hand underneath that device, which looks like a filter, tried to turn it and it didn't budge. So it's well fastened. As you could see, it had a sticker saying that it was inspected. So I think that was actually done. It's just one of those things. You get these Roxors, they don't like sitting. Drive them as much as you can, have fun. These are just some bonus shots which, while I was at the airport, I thought I should do. It was quite windy, as you can see on the windsock, the top left of your screen. Very windy day. So going back home, I'm facing the right direction right now, so I'm gonna be having a very good tailwind, even though you can't make much use of it when you are on the ground. So all in all, I have been very happy with the Roxor so far. It's a 2018, still has the old gearing, 3.73, as opposed to the 2020 Mahindra Roxors, which come with the 5.38 gears. And just like that, we hit the road back home, got into town. Still quite cold, so you don't see many pedestrians on the road. In summertime, you have more people walking out, but when it's this cold, most people stay indoors. That's a local Ford dealership. And the local hardware store. That's the movie theater to the left. And straight ahead you can see the line where you have the Empire Builder. That's the line it runs through from Washington State all the way to Chicago. That's the local train that serves the local stations in Weston, North Dakota. And finally, we're almost home. I stopped after about 8-9 miles to check again, see if any change has occurred. Take away that little annoying twig, and you can see nothing much has really happened. So pop the hood, see if there's any active leak or catastrophic leak. And everything seems to be fine. The leak has slowed down. Everything else checks out. I should say, even after doing that run of almost 10 miles, the engine still feels cold. So yep, so that's the component. I will have to check on the Mahindra Roxor website to see what exactly that is and how it comes apart. They have excellent diagrams that help you if you are trying to order a part, with the names and the sizes. So all in all, I'm happy with the Max Anthony lift kit. It performed very well for the price point. I think it's one of the most excellent upgrades any Roxor owner should do when they get their Roxor, depending on what they plan on using their Roxor for. But most people want a little bit of a lift, which is why I believe the factory also has a lift kit that they are proposing. So here are some parting shots. Want to thank you guys for watching, and see you guys on the next video when I find out and dig in more as to why I'm having that fuel leak. Thanks.